Hey, Wemberg World Entertainment, and just the other week or the week before, we had the trailer drop for Masters of the Universe, and it was received fairly well. You know, it didn't get review bombed or anything like that. Not that they ever do. Its like to dislike ratio was a good ratio for the likes compared to the dislikes, but there was a bit of concern about the joke that they stuck in there of the he/him on the nameplate, which is a joke, but in today's climate and the way all this crap goes, it's not a good joke to put in there, and a lot of people just went after it for being, oh, it's just pronouns and typical crap and blah blah blah. Well, Travis Knight, the director of this movie, has just come out and given us a masterclass in 101 how not to promote your movie, because they've just come out to say, oh no, don't worry, that's a joke. The he/him thing, that was a joke. Get it? He-man, he/him. You don't have to worry about that type of stuff. And now he's come out to say Skeletor is the embodiment of toxic masculinity. Yeah, that's what the director said. And it's like, really, dude? Why would you do that? Why would you come out and say Skeletor is the embodiment of toxic masculinity?
Why?
Yeah, seriously. So let's dive into this, because you just got people back on your side. There are people getting excited about this, and now you've just thrown this spanner into the works, and it's going to ruin it. It really is going to ruin it. So first, it's He-Man using pronouns, and now Skeletor is back, and apparently he's not just a villain anymore, but a walking symbol of toxic masculinity. That's how Masters of the Universe director Travis Knight is now framing Jared Leto's version of the iconic villain in the upcoming reboot. Yes, really. And that is the case of, like, why, man? Out of everything you could be saying, doing, you go this direction to frame already a problematic person, not Skeletor, the guy playing the character, and now you're going to say this about it. It's like, dude, you really should have just kept your mouth shut. So in an interview with Empire, Knight revealed that Leto's take on Skeletor will be a faithful recreation of the classic character, skull face and all, but with a modern psychological twist. Skeletor's kind of the embodiment of toxic masculinity, Knight said, without a hint of irony.
Fuck.
What I hate about what he says isn't just the whole he's the embodiment of toxic masculinity, because that's just dumb shit to say. I hate when they do this, when they say it's a faithful recreation, except we're going to change it. So when you say, but with a modern psychological twist, then it's not a faithful recreation, is it? I don't understand why they do that. We kept it so faithful to the comics, but we changed everything about the character. It's like, well, that's not faithful then, is it? I just hate when they say it. So this saying, the timing couldn't be more awkward. Leto, whose reputation has been clouded by a long trail of allegations ranging from predatory behaviour to naughty assault accusations, some of which have recently resurfaced, is now apparently the poster child for toxic male archetypes. The idea that Leto would portray a villain steeped in insecure, domineering energy seems less like a creative decision and more like, I love this part, typecasting. And get this, it was Leto who went after the role. So Knight said Leto actually sought out the role because of his deep affinity for the character, saying he wanted to swing for the fences, and ultimately we landed on something that I'm really happy with. So that's what Knight said. But framing Skeletor as a symbol of toxic masculinity in today's cultural climate and casting a polarizing actor like Leto in the role feels like a PR disaster waiting to happen, especially considering the movie is being marketed on nostalgia and childhood iconography. To date, Leto hasn't been involved in any of the marketing, and he hasn't even shared the trailer with his 11.7 million followers on Instagram. Now, obviously, what they mean by he's not a part of the marketing isn't this thing of, well, we haven't seen Skeletor, they mean he's not out there promoting it. And it is interesting, actually, because they released all the toys, the action figures, or at least they've released the first looks at the action figures, and they had the cast with their action figures, except Jared Leto. There was no Jared Leto. So that's what they mean by he's not involved in the marketing. You know, he's not being put out there to do interviews as of yet, or if he even will. He's not in the marketing for the toys that is now being promoted via the movie. So it does seem like they are hiding him. So this continues saying, anyway, while Skeletor may be going woke, at least he will look cool doing it. Knight seems committed to nailing the aesthetic, rejecting early script ideas where Skeletor wore a golden mask. That's the first I've heard of that. What a horrible idea. So this is what they were saying here. I said, F that shit. Skeletor has a skull face, Knight told Empire, adding, it's a living, talking, emoting skull, and that's that. So, Masters of the... By the way, I just want to go back to what he's saying there. I hate, again, that you're like sticking so faithfully to even the look of this guy, but you're going to make him this symbol of crap, which is like, good God. So, Masters of the Universe opens in theaters June 5th of this year. Also starring Nicholas, I'm not sure how you actually pronounce his second name. Galantine? Is that how you pronounce it? I'm probably pronounced that wrong. Who, of course, is Prince Adam / He-Man, with Idris Elba as Man-at-Arms and Camila Mendes as Tila and more. And there's also new images that you'll see throughout this of from the Empire magazine of Man-at-Arms, and there's a new one of He-Man and Evil Lyn and stuff. By the way, I still don't get why Evil Lyn has blonde hair in this. Didn't she always have black hair? I'm pretty sure Evil Lyn always had black hair. So why is her hair all of a sudden blonde? I don't get her white by the looks of it. I don't get that. But yeah, look, when you have a person like Jared Leto, who, by the way, is looked at now as box office cancer, basically, that as soon as his name's attached to something, people go, well, that's gonna bomb. And then you stick him in this role, but then you see him in the trailer. Number one, he doesn't speak in the trailer, but they did say something in the full interview about the voice, that he does do a voice, like he got into character with the voice and stuff. But he comes out and we see a full skull face. We don't see any resemblance to Jared Leto in the face, and people are like, okay, but you still have Jared Leto being like, oh God, really him? But now you have the director, of all people, the director, to come out and say, oh, he's the symbol and the embodiment of toxic masculinity. And it's like, why would you do that? Now, this could be one of these things that he's just saying crap that he thinks, today's generation wants to hear. Very much like what the Dungeons and Dragons people did, where they were coming out and saying all the wrong shit. And people were like, well, I'm not interested in that. And then the people who went to see it came back and go, none of that crap is in there. And I've seen plenty of movies and TV shows at this stage that has happened, where they've come out and said all this garbage. And then you go and you watch the stuff and it's like, surprisingly, none of the stuff they were saying is in there. Take Transformers Rise of the Beasts. How not just the director of that, but the cast were all saying, oh, this is truly a story about black and brown people living in New York, and it's our story and it's our time, and New York is going to shine in this movie as much as the cast, and blah, blah, blah. And then you watch the movie and that wasn't what it was about at all. Their actual life of being black and brown people wasn't reflected at all. And by the way, if it was, then holy hell, did they do it the wrong way, because they have the guy go for a job, not get the job, and immediately try and steal from the place. It's like, oh. So, yeah, you don't really want to say, it's real black and brown people's lives. It's like, ooh, that's not a good stereotype you're portraying there. So, to have such an idiotic interview where you come out and say this, you've done nothing but hurt the movie now. So, it's 101 on how not to promote a movie. It was bad enough that you had the backlash for the he-him joke that's in there, and now you're going to shovel this out there to the people to consume after you saying, oh no, the he-him's just a joke, don't worry. And now this. Good luck. That's all I can say is good luck. But what do you guys think? Do you think he should have said this? Do you think he should have kept his mouth shut? Does it change your view on the movie? Do let me know. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Cheers, and I shall catch you in the next one.
Okay, I'm going. Take off.